Welcome back to Transcriber from Reddit. Today's topic comes from a website through Apple News from the Wall Street Journal. This article is titled, "We Put 12 Strangers in a Group Chat About the Economy. It Got Personal." Subtitle underneath reads, "Over 5 weeks and 1,300 text messages, our recruits sparred over student loans, presidential candidates, and inflation. They also shared their successes, painful stories, and drink coupons." Here we have an image showing a variety of messages that were exchanged. Among them read, "I don't think they have to struggle because I did. Seems more out of reach every day. The bill was over $2,500. The beauty of the free market. Don't those dumb 18-year-olds have parents? Question mark, question mark. And my husband is busy canning pizza sauce, exclamation mark." Among others. This was written by Rachel Wolf, illustrations by Alexandra Citrine-Safadi, and originally posted on October 16th, 2024 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Rachel Rulis was annoyed. She watched as her phone lit up with incoming messages. The group chat she was in with 11 strangers had begun to unravel over the subject of student loans. Oops, accidentally tapped on the photo, but as you can see, it's a photo of an interchange of messages. Starting with Robert Olson, 82, retired mechanical engineer, saying, "Unfortunately, too many of our politicians learned they could buy our votes by giving us free stuff. One of the most recent examples is student loan forgiveness." In response, Judy Kelly, 80, retired teacher, said, "College loan, quote, forgiveness, end quote. A large percentage of my students went on to college, and many took on loans. But how those loans were often structured and restructured left students paying far beyond the base amount." Aaron Wells, 56, motel owner, joined in, "Don't those dumb 18-year-olds have parents?" Lily Follett, 23, recent master's graduate, said, "In my experience from my friends, their parents don't know any better either. ... Someone I know ended up taking out (a ton of) student loans without even knowing it ... Although in your defense they were pretty dumb outside of that, lol, end parentheses." Aaron Wells also commented, saying, I am so tired of hearing that, quote, I didn't know what I was getting into, end quote, as an excuse for college, exclamation, 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 exclamation. The word college is in all caps." Finishing up this chat, here Rachel Rulis, 46, sustainability consultant, said, "I took out loans for my associate's degree because help from my parents wasn't an option, and I paid cash for my bachelor's. And if someone else needs loan forgiveness, I don't think they have to struggle because I did." Here ends the text exchange. Rachel closed out of WhatsApp, flicked open iMessage, and typed out a text to our reporter. Quote, "Okay, I think I figured out the twist ending to the social experiment," end quote, Rachel wrote, hypothesizing that her conservative foil in the chat, quote, "isn't really real," end quote. Robert's messages, she reasoned, must be AI-generated responses engineered to get a rise out of the left-leaners. She was only half right. No, there wasn't a computer-simulated interloper among them. But yes, the Wall Street Journal had arranged the group to encourage her and the others to confront opposing points of view. Here we have another image of a text exchange between Robert Olson and Rachel Rulis. Robert Olson said, "Take a look at any college's offerings nowadays and you will see ... a wild proliferation of studies that are unlikely to result in better earnings. I'm thinking of, quote, gender studies, end quote, and, quote, white racism, end quote, and others, ... And to top it off, they pay their college expenses with borrowed money that will be very difficult to pay back because of their low earnings. Rachel Ruelas commented, I think putting gender studies in quotes and implying colleges offer courses in discrimination is against, offer courses in discriminating against white people is the kind of thing that people say right before they lament how much more divided we are now than back in the good old days. And then ending that text message is an emoji with its teeth in a grimace. Moving on, it was the promise of this kind of heated but respectful dialogue that motivated Rachel to respond to the journal's call for participants in the first place. Quote, we get a lot of interaction and feedback from people who think a lot like us, end quote, Rachel had said in her first interview with the journal. Quote, and that's a problem, end quote. Robert Olson agreed, quote, Rachel's political leanings are quite a bit different from mine, and I gained from them, end quote, he said in a phone call. One of the few ideas most Americans can agree on of late is that they are more divided than ever, linked here. So what would happen, we wondered, if we asked 12 people, diverse in thought, background, and identity, to talk to each other every day about the economy? After all, it's the issue that many think will determine the outcome of the election. Over the course of 1,300 messages, we saw that those with different views can, in fact, have conversations about uncomfortable topics and not run away from each other. And we saw that the economy isn't about numbers and spreadsheets. Rather, it's the core of how people experience their lives. Quote, I worry that inflation will destroy our retirement savings, unquote, shared 61-year-old Amy Cook, who co-founded an energy research nonprofit and splits her time between Stacy, North Carolina, and Greeley, Colorado. Quote, I'm scared that housing prices will keep going up for a while, to the point where I'm possibly still priced out if/when the market crashes, end quote, added 23-year-old Lily Follett, who lives in San Diego and recently graduated with a master's degree in biology. Chapter 1. How it worked. The group included 6 women and 6 men. They ranged in age from 20 to 82 and lived across every geographic region. They were Black, White, South Asian, and Hispanic. There was a motel owner and a former Air Force pilot, a widow and a widower, an immigrant with freshly minted U.S. citizenship, and the mother of a non-binary child. There were Democrats, Republicans, and a libertarian. One made $250,000 a year. Others were searching for work. Here below, we see a picture of each of the 12 strangers. Jose Caballero, 20, college student. Lily Follett, 23, recent master's graduate. Joshua Burke, 28, sales director. Farhad Merchant, 37, finance director. Andrew Windham, 43, government worker. Rachel Ruelas, 46, sustainability consultant. Aaron Wells, 56, motel owner. Amy Cook, 61, energy research nonprofit co-founder. Arlene Barkley, 65, freelance accountant. John DeFilippo, 75, retired business development management. Judy Kelly, 80, retired teacher. Robert Olson, 82, retired mechanical engineer. I am leaving their locations as well as descriptions of them out of this transcription. However, to go over the article for yourself, it will be linked in the description below. I'm merely leaving them out for the sake of brevity. To find them all, our reporter, Rachel Wolf, contacted hundreds of people to ask if they were interested in participating. Some were regular journal readers. Some were recommended by community organizations and other sources. We chose the combination that we thought captured a cross-section of America. Rachel, our reporter, checked in with the participants one-on-one throughout the process. In mid-August, we introduced everyone over a video call and laid out the ground rules. First, we said, everything they shared on the text chain was on the record and could be included in a future story. And second, no personal attacks. The next morning, we presented our first prompt. We chose which messages to highlight here based on what we thought represented the overall tenor and highlights. These are only small samplings of the total conversation. Some messages and exchanges have been edited for brevity and clarity. Chapter 2. Pure Inflation. Note that pure inflation is in quotes, and below that immediately begins the text exchange, starting with Rachel Wolf from the Wall Street Journal's prompt, when is the last time you felt, quote, sticker shock, end quote, when making a purchase? Joshua Burke starts the responses with, I can vividly remember 10 years ago I could get a haircut for $15. The haircut experience is no different than it was 10 years ago. No supply chain impact, no innovation in the barber industry, just pure inflation. Judy Kelly said, I fell down the stairs at my son's house north of Philadelphia and needed an ambulance. The bill was over $2,500. Robert Olson said, I have an unusual measure of inflation, cat litter. It was $7 in 2020 and is now $11. Andrew Windham said, oil changes and services for my vehicle. They have almost doubled for me since COVID. Arlene Barkley said, my sticker shock is Amtrak's regular change in prices within the same day. I could be in the middle of buying a ticket and the price will change. Everyone could agree that life felt too expensive, but they clashed over who or what was at fault. Joshua Burke said, there are certainly a number of things that can be pointed to that would legitimize the rising cost of products, but there is also a level of, quote, corporate greed, end quote, parentheses, for lack of a better word, end parentheses, that came out of the pandemic that is at play here. Judy Kelly weighed in saying, Joshua, I agree completely about the corporate greed involved in rising prices. Corporations rewarding executives and buying back stock to keep their stock prices high has been an ongoing issue keeping consumer prices high. Robert Olson also weighed in, saying, I have to take exception to, quote, corporate greed, end quote, being the primary cause of higher prices, ... The beauty of the free market is that greed will be punished by customers who notice it and buy someone else's product. The conversation around the economy and politics was often heated, but when it came to people's lives, the strongest undercurrent really was empathy. Judy Kelly, an 80-year-old progressive retiree, brought up her sadness over her daughter's divorce. Quote, you're only as happy as your unhappiest child, end quote. Conservative 75-year-old John DeFilippo, parentheses, whom she had often disagreed with, end parentheses, responded quickly, quote, so sorry, Judy, end quote, he said. Quote, I can only imagine how painful that can be, end quote. By week 2, many were sharing updates on their pets, kids, and jobs in addition to, parentheses, and occasionally instead of, end parentheses, answering the daily prompts. Aaron Wells, a libertarian, regularly teased Rachel, a progressive, over Rachel's lack of a green thumb. Quote, I'm a plant slayer, end quote, Rachel lamented after a question about spending on hobbies. Quote, I'm the whisperer, end quote, Aaron posted alongside a picture of a towering 7-foot rubber tree. Below, we see pictures that people shared in the chat, including Aaron's rubber tree. We have a beautiful picture of a grand dog, moving ice cream, a birthday party invite, a college graduation, flower arranging skills, a dog getting a bath, and a trip to Alaska. All beautiful reminders that we're all people living lives. I continue reading. Amy talked up her family's famous tomato sauce and invited everyone over for a pizza party. Farhad Merchant, the finance director at a startup, sent around coupons for free airline drinks. Quote, in honor of all our newfound friendships, end quote, he wrote. Chapter 3, Financial Regrets. Veering into the personal was part of the point. We knew the chat would work only if the participants understood one another's stories rather than just their opinions on inflation. A few days in, we nudged them along by asking them to share their biggest financial regret. Rachel Ruelas says, remember the financial crisis of 2008? Well, we bought our first house 6 weeks before that crash. We blew through our savings and emptied out retirement accounts to pay the mortgage even though we were so far underwater. At the time, I remember thinking foreclosure was the worst possible outcome, but it was inevitable. Robert Olson said, if I have one single regret during my earning/saving years is that I was too conservative early on. Not that I should have bought penny stocks or bought stock in a hula hoop company, but I should have put a greater proportion of my savings into the stock market. Judy Kelly commented, unlike Robert, who was a conservative stock market investor in his youth, my mistake was totally getting out of the market in my mid-70s. ... Big regret, ... But I don't dwell on it. Lily Follett commented, "My biggest financial regret was getting a dog while still in undergrad. He cost $5 to adopt from the rescue, but I'm now spending thousands on training him so that I can peacefully have him out in public with me." Robert Olson commented, "Some things in life are priceless. Your buddy looks like one of those things." Our conversations covered almost every major aspect of people's lives. Rachel Wolf entered a prompt saying, "Do you think dating/finding a partner has gotten more difficult than it once was?" Robert Olson commented, saying, quote, "Dating," end quote, "should probably be off limits for an 82-year-old, but 5 years after my wife of 48 years passed away, I was introduced to a widow who hung out at the same coffee shop, 7 years later, we're living happily in northern Arizona, in separate homes about a mile apart." Lily Follett commented, saying, "One week when I was single, I actually had 3 different guys text me that they weren't ready to date after us going out at least once." Parentheses, which to me was honestly kind of hilarious because I wasn't even under the impression that I was still dating any of them, since I hadn't heard from any of them in weeks or months, end parentheses. I'm going to leave off this transcription for right now. This will get posted, and a follow-up post covering the rest of the article will be posted shortly. I hope that this is a beautiful reminder to you and to anyone listening to part one that people are people and that we all have lives and we all have stresses and we all need to be able to come together and talk about those things. And a lot of things that get in the way of that are politics, especially in this season. Please don't forget to reach out to people and see them as people, even during this highly charged political season. Thank you for watching/listening. I will see you in the next one.